me talk to my spouse first. Have you also been engaging people, but you meet people who have financial resources? Nevertheless, they seem to not want to buy. The challenge could just be that you don't use a perfect sales process. And I'm going to walk you through today how you can build a sales process that works. First of all, let's define what a sales process is. A sales process is like, think of a factory, right? You want to produce a certain product, maybe biscuits. You will have a particular machine that does the mixing of the dough, that will do the flattening of the dough, the cutting of the biscuits, the putting in the baking in the oven, the packaging, then it goes to the market. Now you see, there is an assembly plant. There's a process before the biscuit comes out. The whole idea is that we want the biscuits to be consistent. We want the taste to be consistent, the salt to be consistent, the texture to be consistent for customer satisfaction. Nature thrives on consistency. Now, if you don't use a sales process, your outputs will not be consistent, meaning you will not be able to get consistent sales. One of the ways you can get consistent sales is by ensuring that you sell the same way all the time. I know some people wonder when I say these kind of things. They say things like, Yoro, what do you mean by we should sell the same way all the time? What I simply mean is that Bruce Lee gave us a principle. He said, I'm not afraid of the man that has done 1,000 kicks. I'm only afraid of the man that has done one kick 1,000 times. Until you do something consistently again and again, mastery cannot happen. The secret to mastery is focusing on the fundamentals, repeating the same process. When we look at the great footballers of this world, for example, or great sportsmen of this world, you observe that when they go for practice, they practice basic things and they practice them again and again. You would have thought someone like a LeBron James, maybe like a Ronaldo, maybe like the Tiger Woods of his day, you would have thought that these people, they didn't need to practice the basic things anymore because they were already pros. Nevertheless, they kept doing the fundamentals, the basic things. Why? Because repetition is what breeds mastery. Now, how do you now design a sales process? What's the first thing to look at in a sales process? We want to look at what's the outcome first. The outcome is we want the sale to happen. If you look at how you've been selling in the past, that's if you sold before, for example, join me on this call. If you look at how you sold in the past, what process did it take you to get to this end? I'm going to give you an overarching sales process right now, just a basic sales process, so that with this sales process, you can now be able to infuse your own sales process to it and see what works for you. First of all, the first step of the sales process, lead generation and prospecting. Lead generation and prospecting. Now, maybe you work in an organization and your organization brings you leads in terms of marketing. Marketing brings you leads for people to close. Fantastic. The first part of the sales process has been done for you. If you don't work in an organization, maybe you're a freelancer, you're a realtor, you work on your own, you need to start with, you need to move from the known to the unknown. You want to generate leads, start with the people who you know. Who are those you know? How can you engage them, first of all? If the people you know, you feel like, the people I know, they don't even have the resources to buy what I have to buy, then come up with a list of these people that you know and look at who do these people know? Who are associated with them? Who can they refer you to? Who can you strike a partnership with such that if I engage this person, Ade, the name, first name on my contact list, Ade, if I engage Ade, does Ade have a brother that I can talk to? Does Ade have a sibling? Is Ade married? Does Ade's boss, who is he? If I strike a deal with Ade, can we come up with something where Ade refers me? And when the business closes, we share some level of commission. I always encourage people to do a 90-10 commission, because in marketing, we say that the person who can spend the most to acquire a customer is the person who wins. And what does that mean? It just simply means if I'm ready to give off a lot of my commission ahead of time, I'm spending so much to acquire this customer. This means that I will get this customer for life. Now, anybody who buys, for example, anybody who buys from you most likely will continue to buy from you. So this means I get a prospect, Ade refers me, Ade gets the person to pay. When the person pays, from the first transaction, I give Ade 90% of my commission, if there's a commission in the equation, of course. When I give Ade 90% of my commission, I keep only 10%. I know it sounds funny, but just listen. I keep the 10%. The next time the person is coming to buy from me, I'll keep the 100%, and I'll have this customer for life. You understand that prospects move in droves. People hang out with people who are like them. So if you got a prospect who has the financial capacity to do business with you, chances are he will have other friends, relatives, people like him or her who can do business with you, then they can refer you if they are satisfied and happy with your services. So lead generation, first of all, and prospecting. And I said earlier that when you're talking about prospecting, we start from the known to the unknown. Start with people you know, then gradually move to people you don't know. And that's where cold calling comes in. I'm going to drop in a video very soon on cold calling so I can show you how to cold call and be able to get prospects effectively. Another thing about prospecting is that you want to identify your target audience, right? If you identify your target market, see, if you're trying to sell to everybody, you're not going to be selling to anybody. So you want to identify your target audience. Who are you selling to? Who are you going for? There's a popular story I have talked about before where I was listening to an interview on radio, and it was a story of a man who had built a barn. When he built this barn, he invested so much, he got in the chicks, and all of a sudden, the chicks were dying. They were all dying. And I was wondering that, why are my chicks dying? In fact, I think he even lost all the chicks. Then he got a consultant to show him, to come and consult for him and guide him on what he needs to do differently. The consultant started by asking him, he said, hey, in what direction did you build your barn? So apparently, the barn is supposed to build to face a particular side. Whether maybe from where the sun rises in the east or where it settles in the west. But the point is that it's supposed to face a particular side of the sun. The man didn't know. So he built his barn in any direction. And all of a sudden, he had to rebuild all over again from scratch. Do you know that that's how identifying your target market is? If you don't take that correct step of choosing who you're going to be prospecting part-time, from the beginning, you have issues with the sales process. So identify your target audience. Who am I selling to? Are they going to be bankers, financial people? Are they going to be people in the oil and gas space? Are they going to be politicians? Are they going to be celebrities? Who are you focusing on part-time? Because you must constantly think, where do my prospects gather? So that based on that, you can know how to prospect and engage them perfectly. Of course, when you prospect, when you're going prospecting, you need to have a good sales pitch, which you're going to use to be able to introduce yourself and be able to start or strike a conversation. I can drop a video here for you so that you can be able to look at how to engage prospects or how to get a perfect sales pitch. Hopefully you can watch it after this particular one. Then the next step of the sales process is building rapport. That means you've identified a prospect. You now want to build rapport. What does rapport mean? Rapport doesn't mean relationship. Rapport builds relationships. Rapport doesn't mean we gist a lot. Rapport can make you start to gist a lot. Rapport means finding common ground. And rapport is based on the premise that people do business with people who are like them. People who they know, they like, and they trust. So if I see that you are like me, we are similar, then there's a chance that I would go beyond data. I will go beyond facts. I'll go beyond the fact that, hey, your price is more expensive than the others. And I will look away and I will focus on the fact that, hey, we have something in common. I'd rather have you with me as a friend than lose this product. I'd rather have you as a friend than gain these products. So I'm ready to sacrifice the extra money I'm to pay so that I can have you as a friend because we have something in common. And you build rapport based on similar interests. You build rapport based on similar beliefs. You build rapport based on similar backgrounds. And when we say similar interests, we're saying, hey, what do you do? What do you like? Oh, I like watching movies. Oh, I like ice cream. Oh, I like watching cartoons. I like traveling. Similar interests. You also build rapport based on similar beliefs. Similar beliefs like values. What are your core values? What are the things that stand out for you? People say things like, oh, I believe that entrepreneurship is the way to wealth. That's a belief. Oh, I believe that integrity is key in everything you do. That's a belief. I believe that professionalism, rising up the career path, is one of the surest way to wealth. You see? Those are beliefs. So similar interests, similar beliefs, similar background. Hey, where do you live? Similar background. How many children do you have? Similar background. What state are you from? Similar background. So you want to build rapport based on any of these three things. However, when building rapport, there are conversations you want to stay away from. I want to stay away from conversations around sports, politics, religion, gender-based issues, things around tribal issues, things around vaccination, discussions, because these topics have very strong emotional ties to them. And the moment somebody changes his sports club as a fan, he changes his friends. When he changes his religion, he changes his friends. When he changes any of these 5 things I've listed, they change their friends. And you don't want the prospect to have a relationship with you that is short-lived because you built rapport on these 5 things that I said they may affects that relationship with the prospects. When somebody says, Yoruba, but I like to play football. Now, if you're playing the sports, you can build rapport on the fact that, hey, I play football in a particular place, maybe in Lekki somewhere, or one school around my area. I play football there. And the person says, oh, wow, I play football too. What's the name of your club? We're not talking about Man U, Chelsea now. We're just talking about, hey, the habit or the joy or the hobby of playing the sport itself. That is fine. But using fanaticism and the clubs and the club rivalry, no, that can affect how the relationship goes with the prospects. And just so you know, I'm not telling you to meet your prospect and say, oh, sir, what are your interests? Oh, sir, what do you like? What state are you from? No. You ask questions, right? When you ask questions, you see, because selling is not talking. The more you talk in sales, the less sales you make. Selling is asking questions. So this means when I ask you questions, I will ask you questions in such a way that you will start to speak. Open-ended questions. As you're speaking, I'll pay attention to you. And as I'm paying attention to you, I'm looking out for similar interests, similar beliefs, and similar backgrounds. Why? So that when I find them, I can align. When I find them, I can align. It's not for me to try to force it out of you by asking you, what state are you from, sir? What are your beliefs? No. You let the person speak, then you align when you find those similar interests. Oh, so you're from this state? Okay, I'm from that state as well. Then the conversation goes on. Now, after building rapport, you want to qualify. I've said prospecting, building rapport. Now you're qualifying. You want to qualify these prospects. You want to know if the person has the financial capacity. You want to know if the person has a decision-making process. You want to know the person's decision-making process. You also want to know if it's urgent for the person. And I told you earlier, the acronym I use is FOOD. Financial capacity, urgency, decision-making. You want to find out all these things. Because see, if you're on the road to a place, the right place, but you're with the wrong prospects, it will affect your sales. And who is the right prospect? The person who has the financial capacity to do business with you. So you want to make sure that you find prospects who have the money to pay you. And I've always said, the aim of the salesperson is not to find people who are interested. It is to find people who are qualified. Because when you find a prospect who is qualified, he would have the resources to do business with you. All you need to do is stir up interest in this person. So after qualifying, the next thing you want to do is, I want to identify the needs. I've prospected, found the prospects, built rapport. Now, I've qualified. Because of rapport building, I'll be able to qualify easily. Then I want to identify the needs. What are the needs that this person could have? Because every time you sell, you want to sell to solve a problem. Selling is about giving. Selling is about helping. Selling is about blessing. When you're selling, you're not trying to con the person. You're not trying to say, I collected his money. I showed him. You now go behind with your friends and say, man, I closed that guy. That's not the spirit of the communication. The spirit of our communication is, oh, wow, I've been able to help that man. Oh, I got him to pay, thank God, because now his life is going to improve drastically. You see, that must be your thinking. Because every time you're engaging a prospect, you're looking for the problems. You're looking for his needs, his desires, his aspirations. Some people are moved by their need. They have problems they want to solve. Some, they don't really have so much problems. They are moved by the aspiration, the desire of what your product will do for them. So when you've identified the needs, you want to prefer solutions, right? And when you're preferring solutions, you want to prefer solutions in a systematic order. Like I've said earlier, prospecting, qualifying, prospecting, rapport building, qualifying, needs identification. Now, value communication. I want to communicate value in a systematic order. I want to move from primary features of my products to secondary features of my products. What are primary features? Primary features talk about what your product has in common with the competition. There are basic things that must be there. For example, if it's a mobile phone must be able to make calls, send SMS, take pictures, be able to store music, calculators. These are basic features, primary features. But nobody will buy a phone based on the basic features. Everybody will buy a phone based on its unique features. And that's what we call secondary features. Secondary features like screen real estate, how big the screen is. Secondary features like the memory size, how large the memory is. Secondary features like the use of AI on this particular phone. So when you're communicating value, you must move from the primary features into the secondary features, so that you have a systematic communication. It's a way of trying to say, hey, you know what, Mr. Prospect, this is what we have in common with all the competition. However, this is what differentiates us. If you communicate primary, secondary, primary, secondary, secondary, primary, he will mix up your information and he will think you're like the rest. Every product has its unique features. In fact, if at the end of the day, you've looked at your product and you don't think there's anything unique about your product, you being the salesperson can be the difference. Your appearance, your confidentiality, your professionalism, your passion can even be the secondary feature when it's time to sell to this prospect. After communicating value, you want to handle the objections. Objections could arise. And objections don't mean the prospect is not interested. On the contrary, objections mean, hey, I've been listening to you. But if you can give me more information, I think I'll be able to make a decision here. Would you rather do business with somebody who says, I've heard you. You're not presenting. And he says, I've heard you. I've heard you. Thank you. So any questions, sir? No, I'm okay. All right, sir, when would you like to start? I'll get back to you. I've heard you. No, you don't want that. Rather, you want somebody who after presenting, the person says, but that location, I'm not sure that location works for me. But you see, sometimes the rate at which, you see, he's laying his concerns. Because until the prospects unburdens their concerns, you can't get through to their hearts to sell to them. So when you hear objections, it's a sign that, hey, I'm listening to you. I enjoy what I'm hearing. However, give me more information so that we can close this deal. Haha. So you want to treat every objection like a question. And when the objection comes, there are several techniques to go about handling objections, right? I may not be able to go into that right now because of time, but let me go straight to the final part, which is closing the sale. When it's time to close, ask closed-ended questions. I started with prospecting. I moved to rapport building, moved to qualifying, moved to identifying the needs, moved to preferring solutions, now handling objections, then closing. And when it's time to close, ask closed-ended questions. Mr. Prospect, you're paying now, right? Oh, what name would you want on the offer letter? He hasn't even said yes. See, don't wait for the prospect to say, you see, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is already too late. When the prospect says, where's the form? Let me sign. Oh, I want this number of units. It's very too late. Don't wait for him to say it. Go ahead. So when you're done presenting, all right, sir, so what name would you like on the form? Okay, sir, based on what I've said, you like what I've said so far? Yes, I do. Okay. So how many units would you be interested in? You see? So I want to act like you've already said yes. And I'm going ahead straight into my documentation to get you to close. So for closing, always be ready. Let your documentations be available so that you can help the prospects make the decision at the right time, which is now. All right, after that, you can ask for referrals, manage relationships, and grow the business from there. Okay, so this is the simplest and fastest sales process. I want you to watch this video again, share it with your team. If you have a team, get them together, play these videos for them, let them watch them, let them grow, let them meet their sales targets, and let them win in their sales careers. If you have any questions, please drop a question in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Please remember to like, to subscribe, and please share with others so that they can join us on this call and start to grow their sales from one level of glory to another. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. God bless. Remember to like, remember to comment. I'm expecting to see your comments, questions especially about the sales process.